Welcome, everyone. So happy to have you here. Welcome to the Energy Works with me, Lightworker Fellowship Call. I'm your host, Stephanie Kathan, and the intention for these calls is to offer fellowship and spiritual support for lightworkers, uplifters, intuitives, and healers as we travel together, shining our light into the world. And Lightworker Ministries started years ago as a spiritual radio show, and it has turned into a powerful community that shares and cares and supports and inspires. Tonight we are joined by a very special guest, and I'm going to bring him on in just a moment. If you have not yet had an opportunity to watch the film by tonight's guest, I just posted it in the Facebook group, and I will give you that URL. It's a special Facebook group just for the Lightworker Fellowship Circle. It's a closed group, but we are on it. If you are listening and you want to go to the group and post in there and post your questions and all of that, we would love to have you. And that URL is www.facebook.com/groups/Lightworker Fellowship /. I know it's kind of long, but that's the URL if you want to come on over and join us. And also just a housekeeping detail, by posting in the group tonight, one lucky poster will be randomly selected at the end of the call, and I'm going to be giving away a special gift to somebody at the end of the call. So post your questions in the group, post your thoughts, share, and support each other in there, and somebody will get picked to receive a free gift. Now, I want to talk about tonight's special guest. He's been on my shows before, and I always love talking to him because he is such an interesting guy, but his energy is like off the charts, and you'll see shortly when you meet him. His name is G. Brian Benson, and he is a creator and a producer of conscious media. He's a writer, filmmaker, actor, TEDx speaker, award-winning self-help author, poet, children's author, radio personality, and the finisher of over 50 triathlons, including 4 Ironman distance races, cross-country bicyclist, and someone that wants to wake people up. Brian has published 2 books, Finding Your Voice and Brian's List, 26 and a half easy-to-use ideas on how to live a fun, balanced, healthy life. And he recently gave a TEDx talk, Be Yourself to Free Yourself, Finding Your Personal Freedom. He has a recurring role on the TV series Sangre Negra, and wrote, directed, and starred in several award-winning short films, including Guitar Man and his latest film, Searching for Happiness. So it is just wonderful to have you here. I'm going to free up the lines so that you can hear him. Hold on one second. Welcome, Brian.
Hey, Stephanie. Thank you for the kind introduction.
I meant it. I just love when I'm inspired to connect with you because it always puts such a big smile on my face, and your energy is always so wonderful. And I am the happy owner of both of your books, and I love both of them, by the way.
Thank you.
So
I appreciate
that. Thank you for being here and creating these ripples of awareness with me and the listeners. And we do have quite a few people on the line, so welcome. Hello, everybody. It's so nice to see all of you. I watched your film, and as I said, I put it in the group. For those of you listening, please go check it out. Not now, but please check it out. What inspired you to create such a touching, powerful, emotional message that was put into such a short, 6 minutes isn't a long time, but you feel every single minute of it. It's amazing.
Well, thank you. Wow, that's very kind of you. It's hard to It's been a journey. I wrote that originally about maybe 5 years ago, and right after I think kind of completed my very first short film, and just kind of started getting into acting, and that was all kind of an accident anyways. But I just kind of wrote this little story, and in my mind I always kind of really envisioned it being with no dialogue, like it is, like you see it. And my filmmaking buddy who did the first short with me, Guitar Man, kind of wanted to have dialogue in there, and for some reason I held my guns. And life happened, and I ended up moving to LA about 3 years ago, and I just kind of dusted it off about a year and a half ago, and met another young filmmaker, and he was on board to help me out with it. And it wouldn't be what it is without his help. His name is Nye Green, and very talented, and his shot selection was amazing, but to kind of answer your question, wow, whenever we look back at kind of our life and how it evolves and unfolds, we can kind of see little I don't know, guideposts or whatever that kind of just takes us back kind of on our journey and such. And I think to be honest with you, I haven't really been probably all that happy, and believe it or not, throughout some of the past 7 years, as I've been kind of reinventing myself. And so I think maybe that story kind of came out of me subconsciously. I mean, at the time when I wrote it, I wasn't really kind of like feeling like I was trying to make this cathartic experience for myself. But looking back, it wasn't very hard for me to act in that.
I love that.
You know what I mean? It was easy because there was some stuff that needed to come out, and so it was healing. It was a nice experience, if that makes sense.
It does, and I love the timing, and it's so amazing because sometimes the best things that come out of us are the ones that kind of sit on the back burner for a while, like this film.
Yep.
And it came out at a time that it's so relevant to what's happening in the world, because I believe that we're all searching for happiness, and we're all unsatisfied with what we're looking around and seeing in our world right now.
Yeah. And there's a lot going on. That's for sure.
There is, and there's so much negative energy, and there's so much, so many directions that you could give your focus to if you want to. But the message from your film, as powerful as it is, just, I know I keep talking about it, it touched me so deeply, is the kindness factor. And if we would just tune into that, that's where our happiness is located. When we are kind to ourselves and to others, that's when I'm the most happy, when I'm doing something for somebody just because, not because I want something in return, just because. That gives me a really wonderful feeling. And the guy, your main character that you play in your film, when he did that act at the end and he had that experience with the woman, I melted. And I'm like, that's what it's all about right there. That moment when you do something from your heart and you are acknowledged from their heart. So good. So good.
Well, thank you. I think it just really all comes down to just connection. We're all one and the same, and we all come from the same place. And it's just, I think most of us find, or, probably aren't happy because we forget that we are connected, and we kind of go our separate ways, or we, you know what I mean? We just kind of isolate ourselves, so to speak, in many different ways, whether it's kind of, technology gets in the way, or society, or doing something because we think we need to instead of really wanting to, or, there's many, 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 many reasons. And, up right at the top there is just, loving and accepting ourselves for who we are and what we have to work with. But yeah, it really just comes to connection. Mm-hmm.
You found a way to really tune into your creativity in your search for happiness? That's guided you to really ignite that creative spark within you. And you're always creating. You're creating all sorts of great stuff all the time. So what would your advice be to somebody who might be out there, uplifter, who doesn't really know, they know they want to shine their light in the world, but they really haven't found that authentic voice within them? They know they want to do something, but they don't quite know what that is. You got any advice for those people?
Well, I can speak for myself, and I think, we're all similar. But yet, I just trusted my intuitive guidance, those hits, the little inner GPS and little hunches and hints and things that I felt like I was supposed to do. I did, even though it might not have made sense at the time. And I mean, it all starts, I left my family business 7 years ago, and I really had no idea what I was going to do with my life. I just felt like I needed to leave. And I trusted that, and that was a big, bold move. But through that, one thing happened at a time, which led to another thing. And I never planned on writing. I never planned on acting or sharing. I didn't realize I had some of these gifts that I have. You know what I mean? And so it was all kind of a surprise to me. But one thing happened. One thing led to another. And, it hasn't been easy. I mean, I was terrified to be in front of people. And after I wrote my first book, I just forced myself to do some community college speech classes and to do Toastmasters for a while and to co-host my own internet radio show with an experienced person, and just a lot of things like that I had to keep stepping out of my comfort zone. And, it got easier, and I gained confidence. And, we all have levels of, feelings of unworthiness and stuff. And I was no different. But I just kept plugging away, and I think ultimately I kind of had an idea of what I was supposed to be doing ultimately. And so I just trusted that and just kind of followed those intentions. I feel like I'm supposed to create, various forms of media, and hopefully on a pretty big scale, whatever that means. But just, I don't really try to tell anybody what to do. I just try to kind of share what's worked for me and just to kind of put positive stuff out there, because that's our true nature, and people have forgotten that. And with all the silliness going on in the world, it's, it's going to be all right. And it's just, I think sometimes things have to kind of get knocked about a bit to formulate change. And right now, I just think we're kind of in a place where people are, just wanting change. And it all starts with being happy with ourselves.
Yes. Amen to all of that. Oh, I know that for me, when I find myself stepping out of my comfort zone, as you mentioned, and that happens to all of us. There isn't one of us who isn't uncomfortable at some point. But through faith, when I'm stepping out of my comfort zone, I know that with faith, I can reach into the unknown and find balance. And that, it sounds like that's exactly what you've done as you've been traveling your own journey. You've just stepped out and reached into the unknown, not knowing what was going to happen. But your faith, you trusted that it was going to be okay. And boy, was it. Look at, you're on fire. You're doing amazing things.
Well, thank you. It's a process for sure, and I think for me, it's kind of, how do I say this? I did have to work on myself a lot, and there was some faking it till I made it, going on at the same time. But I think, things are really starting to feel good in that I've let go of some of the weight that I've been carrying, whether it's certain stories that I've told myself or just, just tired of it. And to be truthful, I've had some really great acting classes here in town that have helped me and to facilitate, that growth. It's acting's a great way to learn about yourself. And so, there's no accident that I moved out here, and that was via my intuition too. And And so not only just to strengthen my own personal foundation and to, release some of the extra weight I've been carrying, but to make connections and to, further my career, I guess you'd call it. So it's been perfect. Mm-hmm.
Do you find that as you, when you set those intentions, when you moved out to LA and you were like, I'm going for it, did you find that the right people just started showing up for you?
Oh yeah, definitely, and I've always luckily been a pretty good manifester, and yes, the right people have come in, and I've been pretty lucky about that, and I think what we put out kind of comes back to us too, but I think, oh gosh, I lost my train of thought. Nuts. Hold on a second. Yes, the right people have come in. I'm sorry, I can't finish that. Yes, absolutely. If it comes back, I'll let you know. Right. I'll finish that. Gosh, what happened? Yeah, it's that middle age thing.
Oh, that's so funny. Well, one of the things about these calls is that it's candid, so we're just showing up as us. There's no scripting. There's no any of that. So, listeners, you're getting the real deal. This is as authentic as it gets.
Yeah, great.
I want to remind, while Brian collects his thoughts, I want to remind everybody to please post in the Facebook group. So it's www.facebook.com/groups/Lightworker Fellowship, because everybody who posts in there, likes are appreciated, but if you're posting, all of the people who post are eligible to win a prize that I'm going to give away at the end of the night. So let's talk about your book for a minute. Let's talk about both of your books for a minute.
Okay.
So finding your authentic voice, finding your voice. And I'm adding authentic, I think, because that word just comes to mind when I think of you. That's just like a Benny. When I think of Brian, the word authentic just automatically comes into play. So finding your voice, what was that about for you? What was that message for those who aren't familiar with your book? If you would share a little bit about what that's about.
Yeah, once again, looking back, everything that I've written, although I might not have realized it at the time, was for me first and foremost. and so Finding Your Voice is a compilation of some little blogs and stories, as well as a few poems, and I don't want that to scare anybody. They're not esoteric. They're in layman's terms, but with depth, and then some quotes that I really enjoy and stuff. And so I think you put that all together, and there's just a lot of little nuggets that have helped me, and hopefully will help other people just think a little bit more about who they are, what they're doing, what really resonates for them in their lives, in all kinds of forms. And so I'm really happy with it. And I'm very happy with it. And there's one of the very first things in the book, the poem Light. I don't know, you might have heard it before. I said it at the very end of the TEDx talk I did last year, but that always still really kind of continues to speak to me, and it's one of my favorites just because I kept telling myself for so long, it's in there, trust it, it's in there. And, now that it's really coming out with, nothing holding it back, it feels really nice. And I know that everybody else can relate, and I'm happy to recite it if we have time, but it's just, I'm happy. I'm really proud of the book.
I just posted the link into the Facebook group, so anybody who wants to can go take a look at that. And I love what you said, that looking back, you discover about everything that you're doing, that you do it for you first and foremost. I think that is such an important gem that you just shared, because when you do stuff for that reason, other people benefit. It's the most amazing thing. We grow up thinking that we have to do for others, and that's what makes the world go round, and it is. But when you do for yourself first, when you do that for yourself in a wanting to learn and discover about yourself kind of way, coming from that place, it's like the ripple effect can't help but overflow to others who benefit. Do you find that?
Well, for sure. I mean, we have to have full cups to really, truly be able to, help people and be present for them and all that kind of stuff. And people who are needing help, I mean, we all do it to some extent, but those that do, they want to have a hand that's reaching out to them that's grounded and not, you know what I mean, not struggling in and of them in themselves, and so I think it's just a much healthier way to kind of pay it forward and keep things moving in a healthy way, and everybody just can witness true strength, because it comes from within, and a lot of people, I think, they try to help others, in a really loving, kind, meaningful way, but yet it depletes them, or they're doing it from a depleted state, and that's it's tough, because that can't be sustained for very long, and nobody really ends up benefiting.
It's so true. When your tanks are empty, you don't have anything to give. So I love that you did that. And listeners, I also just shared Brian's list in the group, so you can take a look at that. And that's 26 and a half easy-to-use ideas on how to live a fun, balanced, and healthy life. So do you probably get this question a lot? What's this half all about?
Yeah, well, I think originally when I wrote that, it's been 7 years now. I had 25 things, and then that I was going to put in the book. Then I came up with another that I really wanted to include, and some of my friends said, it should probably be an even number, like 25 or 20. And I said, well, I really need all 26 in here. And so then I said, I'm going to make it really odd and just do 26 and a half. And some people have kind of thought that is that kind of to match up with like the length of almost the length of a marathon. But it's not. It's just the half is just kind of goofy, and there's actually kind of a chapter in there that just has a few more things that I talk about to keep folks in balance, but I just don't elaborate on them like I do in the other chapters. So that's the answer.
And that's a great answer.
No, thank you.
There's quite a few people on the call tonight, and I want to give people an opportunity to come forward and ask questions or come on the line and say hello if they want to. So listeners, if you're listening live on the line, hit *2 on your phone keypad if you want to come forth, if you want to ask questions, if you want to say hello. All questions, comments, welcome. If you have something that you'd like help on, prayer requests, what we can do to support you, that's what these calls are all about. And so please come on the line. Just hit *2. If you're listening via the webcast, there is a questions box there in front of you, and you can submit your questions there. We'd also love to hear where you're listening in from. And also, please post in the Facebook group and let us know who you are, where you're listening from, what you're getting out of the call tonight, and what you'd like support with, if anything. So I just wanted to put that out there. So what is something that you have so many things. I love that you don't try to fit yourself under one label.
I tried to,
when
it
I
didn't
was
work.
reading when I was reading your bio, I'm like, this is so fabulous. Like, you just do. You do so much stuff. And I love that you don't try to fit yourself into a box like a lot of people try to do.
Well,
is that like
a
natural thing that comes to you, or?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm finally kind of figuring out kind of how I want to move forward. And for the longest time, I kind of fought myself because I would hear whispers in my ear saying, you do need to kind of focus on one or two things. And for a while, I thought it was going to be the books. And then I just I didn't really want to be known as I don't want to say self-help author, but just a guru or anything like that. Not at all, please. And I just want to be me, but there's so many different facets of me. And one thing led to another and all these different things. And I think finally I'm going to be probably launching it here in a couple months, but I'm going to do all that I do under the brand of Reawaken Media and with the tagline of Waking Up the World.
Wow. I love that.
Thank you.
I love that. Let me know when you launch that. I have goosebumps just hearing you say that. So when you're ready to launch, let me know because I really would like to support you in that. That's awesome.
Thank you. I'm getting a logo design as we speak.
Oh, that's so exciting. Be sure to share it. Share it in the group, too. One of the things that I struggle with is I was feeling like I was having an identity crisis a little bit. I didn't know if I was a talk show host. Am I an energy alignment specialist? Like, what do I do? And I felt like I was confusing people and getting a little bit confused myself. And then I realized, why can't I do it all? What the hell is the matter with doing it all?
Damn straight. That's what I thought, too.
So I love that. So that you being you really resonates with me. I love that we're resonating in that area and here creating ripples of awareness with our listeners. So
if you think I was just going to say, if you think about it, we label ourselves way too much as it is. Society labels people and blah, blah, blah. And so, I have to do a little bit of everything to be really, truly happy and fulfilled.
So, listeners, if you're struggling with something, if you're feeling like society is trying to fit you into a box and you've got lots of pieces of you like we all do, I recommend embodying all of you. Brian's done it. I'm working on doing it. It's always a work in progress, but just embody all of you and love all of the pieces of you because there are so many. You have so many beautiful pieces that make up the amazing you that you are. So don't get discouraged and don't give up because you can't make up your mind. Do you want to be this or do you want to be this? I am all the time thinking about what I want to be when I grow up. And Brian has said he's reinventing himself over the last few years. It's a wonderful part of your life's journey when you accept and embody all of your pieces. Really, really
Definitely.
Good stuff.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. So, listeners, star 2, if you'd like to come on the line, ask questions, say hi to Brian, ask him about his books, ask about anything you want. This is open, unscripted time. Nothing's off limits. We'll talk about anything. So just hit star 2 on your phone keypad. I'm going to check the questions box on the web page one more time. And then I'm going to go check in the group and see if anybody is posting in there. So tell me a little bit more about, let's talk about fear for a minute. We talked about searching for happiness. And a lot of times as we're doing that in our lives, it's scary and fearful because we have all of these things. Am I ever going to find it? What if it never arrives? What if I keep falling into the same situations? This always seems to happen to me. We start telling stories, and then things get really scary. So how did you handle the fear part of your journey?
Well, it's been a roller coaster. I mean, I don't want to say that it's been easy. You know what I mean? I've not been not affected, that's for sure. I just keep moving forward. Luckily I kind of have an idea or an optimistic, positive outlook about things, but that doesn't mean I'm always feeling that way. It's just I just in my gut know that things are going to be all right. It's just I think when I run into problems is when I maybe hold certain expectations about maybe how things are supposed to unfold, or in the timeliness of how things are supposed to unfold. And so I basically have just set myself up for potential disappointment rather than allowing things to happen at the speed they're supposed to. And I know that happened to me early on, after I wrote a couple of those books. And I just, it was my own expectations about things. And I kind of felt like I was ready in some respects to maybe kind of do that on a bigger scale, but I wasn't. I still had a lot of growing to do and a lot of clearing out to do and a lot of, I didn't know about all the other wonderful things that would be happening to me. And so things will happen when they're supposed to. And I think that helps with fear, as far as just kind of surrendering to that and trusting that. That doesn't mean it's always easy. I mean, my gosh, I'd love for some things to happen tomorrow. But, or I'd love to have the film have more views to share with people, whatever. I mean, just silly things. But just it's a matter of just kind of surrendering and just trusting that the things will be all right.
And things always, always are. That is the amazing thing. Even when bad things happen, when we think back at our lives in the moments where we were sure we were going to die if this thing didn't work out the way that we wanted it to, and somehow everything always worked out. We're still here. We're still going. So things are still working out. And a lot of times we get stuck in looking at the reality that's in front of us so much that we forget that it's going to be okay. We forget that all is really well and everything is working for us and we really are supported. And so it's challenging sometimes. I definitely feel that, and I've felt some definite fear going on. But what I figured out is, for myself, is that when I'm feeling that fear, all that means is that I'm looking in a different direction than what my inner being knows to be true. I'm focusing on something that my inner being isn't seeing that way. And when I pull myself back and I kind of give myself permission to look at it that way, then I can see the fear as just an indicator, like my oil light coming on and letting me know that my car needs oil. When I feel the fear, I go, oh, that's just my inner GPS. I'm going off course. That just means I'm headed in a direction that isn't the truth that I want to be living. And so that helps me.
Yeah. No, go ahead and finish. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, I was just going to say that's helped me be able to deal with my fear, because I came from a really despair kind of mindset when I started this journey. I was really, really down there. And so for me, being fearful again is just not an option. I just can't. I know that I cannot even dip my toes in that lake. You know what I mean? So I had to find a way to make sense out of it. And that's what makes sense to me. That's what feels good to me when I think of fear. So
sure,
I hope
think
that brings benefits.
No, I mean, I think to make it really even more simple, I think basically on one end of the spectrum you have fear, and the other end of the spectrum love, which is our true nature. And when if we just kind of remember that, and when we're starting to feel that way, just kind of, what can I do to kind of tilt it back the other way? Well, we can be grateful. We can, throw a comedy on. We can laugh. We can spend time with people we care about. I mean, just do those little things to stay in balance and to connect and bring love into our life in different ways. And I think if we can do that, the fear will just dissipate. I mean, it's. I mean, I'm not saying will always go away. Of course not. I mean, it is what it is. It's, it does come up for a variety of reasons. And, and I've felt it as strongly as a lot of people. And, I mean, even take it one step further with all that's going on, there's a lot of fear energy out there. And maybe some of us kind of tap into that subconsciously or accidentally, and do feel it. So I'm not definitely one that says just smile and say everything's going to be all right, because sometimes it won't be, and you really need to allow yourself and give yourself that time to just sit and feel how crappy it feels and just to move through it, and that's one of the things I'm finally starting to work on. I mean, I was pretty good at just kind of blanketing times that I maybe should have sat down and felt things and kind of like let them in till maybe really learn the lessons on them, but I would just kind of paint a rosy picture and just kind of keep moving on, and that always comes back.
Right.
So in my own personal experience, I'm actually, on those days, I don't feel like doing anything, and I'm feeling sad for whatever reason. I just, I'll just Netflix it for 3 or 4 hours, or I'll just go hike, or
Yes.
I will not force myself to work. And, and the interesting thing is, luckily, when I do create, sometimes it comes pretty hard and fast, and so I just trust that I will be creative when I need to be, and so and that's pretty much worked out that way so far.
Yeah, I love that. And it's so important, listeners, to realize if you've been feeling that way, it's okay. You're definitely not alone. We've all felt fear. We've all felt these feelings. And what Brian just said is so powerful, because you just want to let yourself be who you are and let yourself feel. Don't try to fight against yourself. That's where we create a lot of struggles, is when we beat ourselves up. We're feeling these feelings, and then we start beating ourselves up because, we're uplifters and we're light workers and we're supposed to be positive all the time. And then, so we start doing the self-hate thing, and that just makes things even worse. So just accept that you are where you are, and it's okay. And please feel free to introduce yourself in the group, also to receive support from other members in between calls. So if you're listening to the replay, you're going to see some links there, and one of them will say learn more about Brian, and that will take you right over to his website, and you can learn all about him and all about the stuff he's got going on, all of the ripples of well-being that he is creating, all of the ripples of awareness with his books and his movies. I just love that movie so much. You guys, please just take 6 minutes and watch it. You'll be so glad you did. And Brian, thank you so much for joining us. I want to give people a last chance to come on the line. We will stay and do Q&A and stay on the line. So if you have questions or you want to come forth, please hit *2 on your phone keypad. This is going to be kind of the last call for questions. I'm checking the Q&A box one last time, and then I'm going to check the Facebook group one last time. So is there any tip that you would like to share before we go, like out of your personal growth toolbox? Do you have a morning process, or do you have a special process that you use to help you stay on track?
Well, I'm kind of routine oriented. I like to go to the gym and go hike and all that kind of stuff, and I usually do that kind of stuff maybe in the morning. But I just want people to know and to remember that they are enough, just with being who they are, and just trust those little nudges and hunches and follow them, and those are the things that really create true fulfillment, I think, because we're connecting with Source, God, universe, whatever you want to call it, and that's where we're connected and not separate. But just know that you're enough, and no matter where you find yourself in your life or whatever you're doing or what have you, but you're enough.
That is beautiful. Well, thank you, everybody. Nobody's posted in the group. There's a bunch of listeners on, but nobody's posted in the group. So
That's all right.
If for the replay, then, if I see some posts in the group with the hashtag Brian Benson, I will be giving away a one of my copies of my 5-part audio series is going out to one lucky listener who posts in the group, and it's the 5 Foundations of Deliberate Creating, and it's going to go to somebody free. A random person is going to get picked, but you have to post in the Lightworker Fellowship Circle group to be eligible. So that's facebook.com/groups/Lightworker Fellowship. And you are also eligible, Brian Benson, if you wanted to. So anybody who wants to post in the group, go ahead. Brian, thank you so much. Do you have any last messages other than the beautiful things that you shared with us so far before we go?
Well, I just want to thank you again. I always enjoy the chats, and thank you for the opportunity. And this is kind of, I don't hope it's not sounding too shameless, but I have my first kids book coming out this fall that I'm very excited about, called Steve the Alien. Yeah.
What's it called?
Steve the Alien. It's a fun little story about an alien that visits Earth and connects with a little boy. And yeah, it's a rhyming story, and I'm really excited about it.
Is that available on Amazon right now?
No, it won't. It's not. It won't be released until late October.
Oh, late October.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't wait to see about it. So as soon as you have information on that, please feel free to post that in the group. Because one of the things about this group that we are all in, we do the calls to offer support, but the group helps you receive support from everybody who is also in the group. So introduce yourself and network together and co-create together. We are all traveling on this journey together, and we're all here supporting each other. That's what this journey is all about. So it's an honor for me to be here with you. It's such an honor to have you, Brian Benson, as my special guest today, and all of you amazing listeners who hung in there and stayed with us on the line. I appreciate you, and I love you, and please keep shining in the brilliance of who you are. Post in the Facebook group, get to know each other, support each other, go check out Brian's books, and for sure, spend 6 minutes watching Searching for Happiness. You will be so, so happy that you did. And I will also post the updates for our next live call, which will be happening in September, so stay tuned for that. I am your host, Stephanie Kathan, joined by my very special guest, Brian Benson, and we love you, everybody. Thank you all. Bye-bye.
Take care. Thank you.
The conference is now completed. Goodbye. Welcome to the conference.